Javed Abdi Foundation, JAF, which also stands for Journalism, Advocacy and Fun. Please subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, like, comment, and share.
Malvika, since you are here, I would like you to introduce yourself. By the way, to everyone who was watching, she is an activist and a public speaker. And I think if you just Google Malvika Iyer, you will definitely have like since she's here, I think I'll just give it to her. And Malvika, you mentioned your story, and I feel that it's so inspirational, and I would also like you to obviously tell your story, but also because like you mentioned, you didn't accept your disability, right, for those 10 years or for a huge part of your life. So a lot of the times, when I go to colleges and I am meeting students with disabilities constantly, मैं मिलता हूँ, मैं बात करता हूँ, तो कहीं पे वो हिचकिचाहट मुझे भी दिखती है, क्योंकि I grew up with a person who had a I would say a very strong disability identity, and I always saw him, and so I completely grew up with that, and I thought everybody would be like that. So for me, it was a learning that no, that people are different, and that it's everybody perceives it differently as well. So how do you become an advocate and an activist and a public speaker? From not accepting to becoming a public speaker, like how did you make that journey and transition into that?
Thank you, Shamir. I think this has been, and I just want to highlight what Shai said, that, people with disability also must talk about other world issues. And she talked about, I think she's highlighting representation here. Only then we know that, when we see someone to look up to. So how my story goes is, I met with a bomb blast in 2002, and I lost both my hands in the accident, and I also severely disfigured both my legs. So I was bedridden for about 18 months. And my I think for those 2 years, especially because I couldn't attend school, so those 2 years, I would say that I would have faced probably every kind of discrimination or every kind of exclusion. I was just a 13-year-old girl, and like the comments from "बेचारी लड़की, अब इसका कोई future नहीं है, और अब इससे कौन शादी करेगा," or anything like. I remember people looking at me like I'm some kind of an animal in a zoo, because they just want to stare. It's so different, right? You don't see someone without hands every day. It's a different sight for them. That mortified me. It was very shocking for me, because in my house, my mom and dad, my sister, everyone in my family, they've only been accepting of me, which is, I believe, it's a very, very important thing. Social support, especially family support, was so important in my story. But when I would go outside and I would face this kind of insensitive attitude, or someone staring, or someone just deciding my future, that ab to iska kuch nahi hone wala, or she just has no future, that used to make me cry a lot. I would not cry for my hand, or I would not cry for the pain in my legs, because I had kind of accepted and I was coping up. But I would cry a lot when someone would say "Bichari ladki" to me, because I was not bichari, and I was I was positive, I was smiling, I was doing my work. And I was 15 years after I started walking, and I wanted to study for my 10th grade. I didn't want to waste a year. So someone with these kind of thoughts, I used to wonder, why am I a bichari ladki to these people? So for a long time, I stopped going outside, or I would only go when my family is there, or when there is a place where I can hide my hands behind my back, so that no one asks me. And I would never shake hands with anyone. If someone says shake hand, I'll just run away. My best approach was to just not get out of the house, so that I can avoid all of this. And then I had to join my 10th grade, so I had to go out, I had to join the coaching center, I had to meet people, I had to face it. My research, my PhD research, it is on attitude of undergraduate students towards people with disabilities. So I have interviewed around 1,000 students, and I have also interviewed 10 people with disability who are doing amazing work back in India. They told me, and I also personally agree, that the discriminatory attitude is more of a barrier for people with disability than their own physical limitation. And it was very sad to know that something that society has constructed was going to be a bigger barrier. And this 10 years was my most challenging period of trying to make my own identity, but going back again, then trying out. So I would say that it was a very, very challenging time. But the day I shared that Facebook post, and the next year I gave a TEDx talk, because I knew that I had to go out there and just embrace my disability. That talk was just about me sharing my story and telling that why shouldn't I be included. That's all was the talk about. And I think I say that TEDx talk that happened in 2013, it was, I would say, the biggest, I mean, the best thing I ever did. Because when I spoke about it, I would say that that day itself, I think I became a speaker. And I got so many invitations, because everyone wanted to know that how someone like this would want to change the situation. So I think everyone connects in some way or the other. And I encourage, since then, from 2013 till now, I have tried to share my stories, and try to advocate, not just on, like Shai's talked about, not just on issues related to disability, but representation and fashion and anything that, because why should people with disability be left out of all the important conversations? So I think media has also played a very important role in my particular story, because the positive representation of my story, and not just highlighting that she doesn't have hands but she scored great marks. That was not the story. That was perhaps just the first few years where that was the story. But they did not, and the last 5 years that they have written about me, this has never been the subject of the article, that she lost hands. And so they have talked about what the work that I'm doing, or the work that I'm trying to highlight, or the issue that I'm working on. So media has played a very important role, and a very positive role, in sharing my story, which has inspired more people to do the same, and more people to step out. And I personally know 5 6 people who have come out after this and shared their own journey of how they overcame their disability. So I think this is my personal story of how I would say I became a speaker. So I think just going out there and sharing, but at the same time having the support of a positive media, I think that greatly enhances our work.
Yeah, definitely. That's really, really true. I think media does help a lot, and it's really good. But I also, we've been writing a lot of stories, and it's been very, very hard. The past couple of weeks on everyone. I think because of COVID-19 and the whole lockdown situation, with the issues of migrant workers, with the issues of so many people, the digital divide itself, right? People are saying that webinars itself are discriminatory, or online classes itself are discriminatory. We should not have exams. We should not do this. And right now we're fighting tooth and nail to make online education accessible to people with disabilities.
JAF is a youth led initiative. We deeply appreciate the support of all our interns and volunteers. Thank you. You can follow us on Facebook at Javed Abdi Foundation, and you can tweet us at Rishad Shimmer.